It was a joyous occasion for the class of 1951. Many hadn't seen each other for a long, long time.
Here when we're undergraduates, and then through the years, even though we don't see each other for a period of time, when you get back together, you get friends that you didn't even know were friends, and it just grows, and how important it is to remain in touch with each other and in touch with the Academy.
Visually, the Academy has not changed so much. Some new or refurbished statuary can be observed as one strolls around the campus. The crosswalk, where Dr. Chase gave many demerits for walking on the grass, is still there, although the scofflaw individuals won, since the path is now paved. But wander a bit afield from the main campus, and one enormous change is about to occur: construction of the Snyder Center, thanks to the generous support of Class of '56 member Steve Snyder. Many spoke of the significance of the center to Andover, and of course, it brought back many personal memories.
And I believe that this program, this building that we're putting up today, and what I hope will be a continued refreshing of our athletic facilities along with our athletic program, will really stand for Andover saying that we see athletics as being a crucial part.
All of us coming to Andover started a new chapter in our lives. We'll bring Andover's athletic facilities up to the same excellent level as our academic programs. Thank you.
The Snyder Center will be a 90,000 square foot indoor track and squash facility. It will also have 4 indoor tennis courts, 4 recreational basketball courts. It will have multi-purpose rooms, some of those rooms that will look out over our Phelps Stadium in glass windows. It will allow our students to participate in all types of activities, not just the formal athletics, but to play and to rumble and dance and Zumba and step aerobic and fence and drumline and all the other wonderful activities that our kids do.
Having not stood out here for many, many years, and I have to tell you, it feels fantastic. It's a totally different stadium than it was before, and really a beautiful one. And just standing here is thrilling.
More importantly, the football and the coach that we had, Steve Sirota, made a tremendous difference in all the players' lives. Steve Sirota, he was not only a football coach, but he taught a whole bunch of lessons in life and sportsmanship and how to get back up again when you got knocked down.
One is reminded by Bob Doran's presence that so many of Andover's resources stem from the generosity of its graduates. For example, Class of '51 can take pride in his generosity toward the Addison Gallery.
For a variety of reasons, we will be now gifting works of art that we've collected over a long period of time. So really, the Addison is in good hands and all the students are very, very fortunate.
Many of our classmates have accomplished so much. Given today's concern over national security, we should note the work of one of our classmates, Tony DuPont, whom we interviewed at his home in Vermont. Tony worked on vertical takeoff and landing craft and helped direct the eventual launching of satellites to places like the Moon, Jupiter, and Mars.
The main thing was what they called in those days the aerospace plane. And that was an airplane that took off from a standard runway and flew into space and unloaded its cargo like the space shuttle does, and then came back and landed. You could refuel it, kick the tires, and go again. But Andover taught you how to cope. There's some things that are fascinating that like I went to the astronomy lecture. We didn't have a telescope in those days, and for the kids to discover potential new planets or something, you know, as a high school student, that would be out of sight. I'd been all over that.
In conversations with Andover administrators and teachers, one was also reminded of the heritage and idealism of the school. which marked us indelibly through the years. Locke Rush spoke about his ancestry and takes Andover back to its roots in the Revolutionary War and the establishment of non sibi as a school credo and motto.
We grew up in Philadelphia. The person you're talking about is my great-great-great-grandfather, Dr. Benjamin Rush, who was a signer of the Declaration of Independence. And at that time, in the late early 1800s, the preeminent physician in Philadelphia. He founded Dickinson College, and he based a lot of his thoughts and the idea that moral virtue should be the basis of education. And that's how Dickinson was formed. The thing that really got me about Benjamin Rush was when he was dying and only had a few minutes left, his son was by his bedside, and he his son lifted him up to speak. He was very hoarse, apparently, and he said, "Son, be indulgent to the poor," and then he died. So here was this man with all these amazing things. The list of what he accomplished was huge, but that always sticks in my mind as being the most important. The motto, non sibi, not for oneself, is the key. And I found here, and also with Andover, that the kindness is done with the individual student by faculty and house-masters was really extraordinary. For a place that could be so impersonal, it was very, very personal and intimate here. It's quite a hard tradition to carry for a number of years, a couple of hundred years, so it's quite extraordinary that this still exists and exists as strongly as it does now.
Our class president, Doc Castle, remembering his time at Andover, spoke about the impact the school had upon him. Class vice president Cappy Capelson had similar memories.
And what did Andover mean to us? I thought about Ozzy's questions, and I didn't answer the questionnaire, Ozzy. My answer really is pretty simple, and I know this is the answer that a couple of people in this room will give, too, is that Andover very simply just changed my life entirely and set the stage for everything that came afterward. The one thing that has stayed with me is the idea of service to the community, service to others. And I have continued in my life from the beginning to now in engaging in the community in every way that I possibly could. This place just made a huge impression on all of us and really did make a difference.
I know the world is changing. Is the academy changing? From the report this morning, obviously it is. And from what you tell me about the project going on in the library, it absolutely is.
Yeah. And what do you think, looking back on our class back in 1951 when we graduated, and what's your feelings about things?
Well, my feeling, that interesting. Everything when I think, it's very emotional when I think about PA. It's the most formative part of my life, I believe strongly. I was very young when I came here, and it lasted 4 years. Took 4 years and 2 summers to get through. I think there's a passion that is pretty consistent all through our class. A great deal of loyalty and a great deal of respect, particularly in retrospect.
Yeah. Are you optimistic about the future, though?
I am, because I don't want to be otherwise.
Yeah, right. That's a good thought, And what do you think is going to happen? Is it...
You're talking about the world unto itself?
Well, with Andover, as far as Andover.
I think Andover is going to have a bigger place in this world every year from this point forward. It's a leadership role.
Yeah. Do you think that our class back in '51 is a very different atmosphere we were raised in? Do you think the atmosphere has much changed?
Absolutely changed. Absolutely. It was a small, narrow environment when you really come down to it, bottom line. And nowadays it's so diverse. So many cultures are being meshed together. So many thoughts and changes in science, so different. It's a different class because it's a different world.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts that I have to go inside now? Any last thoughts you'd like to say to the camera about Andover, about life here?
I guess if I had to sum it all up and say I was pretty darn lucky.
We also caught classmate Kenley Webster in a moment of introspection. Many classmates will probably empathize with him.
The most important thing for me to point out is that I think about it is how the earlier part of life impacted or didn't impact on the later part. How it was very clear to me that I was not certain as I came into Andover as an upper middler what I wanted to do with my life. That was not a question.
Any case that particularly stands out in your mind? This was really an amazing case that I had to be involved in, or I was involved in.
There are two cases, perhaps. The first one was a case of robbery in an elevator by a young youth of the community and against a woman that was aged. I was convinced that I could win that case. I was also convinced that he was not guilty of robbery. Second was I had a case involving a rape. It was not brutal, but it was rough and injurious to the woman. Andover prepared you in one way. It demanded dedication. And that was something I'm sure that not everybody who came to Andover understood, and few could really achieve great success even with great dedication, but they weren't going to achieve it without it.
In the course of the reunion, participants had the opportunity to meet together to reminisce about old times. We were impressed by an introduction to two student leaders of the Movie Makers Club, and pleased to admit that they contributed some valuable clips to this film.
I think the competition comes from everybody's so used to being the best of the best at their old school, and then they get here, and it's impossible to be the best of the best here because everybody is the best of the best here. So it's kind of coming to terms with the fact that it's not going to come easily. It's like it's going to be a challenge, and you got to work. And even like if you work hard, you won't make it to the best. It's definitely hard to come to terms with.
Film is what I want to do as a career, and I think part of my decision to do that was definitely like shaped by being here at Andover.
What I find the most fun is that every day is so unique and so exciting that there's just something cool going on basically all the time here, and I just love that. It makes it really exciting to wake up to. It's like, what's going to happen today?
This made us particularly conscious of further developments in the arts. Changes wrought since 1951 in the music department are truly inspiring.
Our classes meet down here to do compositions on our computers as well as studying. So we have about 260 some odd students that take lessons every week. Students have to do a music class during their 4 years here, so every student will enter Graves Hall. We have 9 full-time faculty members and about 32 or 4 adjuncts that come in and teach for us.
As classmates wandered around campus, opportunities occurred to witness many changes in teaching techniques and learning opportunities now presented to students. Of course, we were very impressed by the inroads made by young women who now attend and also help manage Andover. Most seem to accept this change positively, but often with a bit of nostalgia for the old days.
If young women were in class, I would have worked harder because I wouldn't want to see them get too far ahead.
I would have fallen in love earlier. I think that would have been bad. I would have married the wrong woman. The whole thing would have
I think I would have fallen in love multiple times.
Well, I didn't want it to be co-ed for any.
Not with the same woman.
I was thinking more academically.
Yeah. No, I mean, the reality is, I mean, my reaction, I'm sure, I think would be the reaction of most people. The place is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is unbelievable. The plant, the beauty of the plant, the power of the plant, I'm talking about the physical, is awesome. And the beauty, obviously, people have cared about making the place look terrific.
Yes.
And then you see 2 young students and they're just great, and they're driven and they're brilliant and they're, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I think the place is better than ever. I thought it was great when we were here, and it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I think the merging of high tech into academic excellence is really something that we certainly didn't have the advantage of seeing because it wasn't the time, but it's amazing too.
Dean of Studies, Patricia Russell, spoke about the changing methods at Andover.
I think there are a lot of changes, both in the needs of students, in our understanding of how students learn. Certainly as a scientist, what's gone on in discoveries, not only, in how we utilize science and applied science and engineering and the whole STEM fields. The technology revolution has all really blossomed in the time that I've been privileged to be teaching in this area. We also understand a lot more about neuroscience and development of kids and kids' needs. So it's been a fascinating time to be here and watch this all unfold. It's very exciting. When you were a student in high school and when I was a student in high school, one of the primary roles of many of our teachers was to tell us things, was to give us information and to decide what was the important information. And that's no longer the primary role of teachers because the information is in our students' pockets. So there are lots of teachers who are figuring out what does it mean to teach in a digital age and how do kids learn best and what are the skills that kids need. It's such a place where teachers are focused on what's right, what's best for the kids.
The library is another place where great change is taking place. Andover is a leader in creating maker spaces in libraries all over the country, or is called at Andover, the Nest.
Maker spaces are emerging spaces. A lot of libraries are looking at them as new ways to engage users and students, and essentially what they are rooms equipped to build ideas and to share ideas. And those ideas might be things between a group of students or just one student. They can come down here and build a quick prototype of that idea and share it with their friends and maybe grab a bunch of feedback or information about that prototype and then go back to the 3D printer and build that whole prototype all over again with that feedback included. Maker spaces have all kinds of equipment where you can build a prototype. And a prototype's just a lightweight first version of an idea. There's so many tools at the disposal of these students to take what they're learning in the classroom and actually apply it towards doing something. And as Steve Jobs said, poke the world. And that's entirely possible and made possible by a space like this. So we run a speaker series called Nested, where we invite alumni back, and usually in the zone of science, art, technology, design, or other, and share their experiences with students and share what they've learned. And this is incredibly powerful to a lot of students here because they can see how others have taken this rich Phillips Academy experience and used it out in the real world. 3D printers. Is everybody here familiar with 3D printers? A few. It's a very rapidly growing technology. It's no longer just about, or never maybe was, about just the 3D printer on the desktop, but they are 3D printing bridges. They are 3D printing dwellings in 20 hours. When you think about the kind of impact that technology will have on the future, that's something that I think about, that I think a lot of teachers, especially Mr. Palfrey, thinks about every day. How are we preparing kids to interface with a world that's mediated by that kind of technology?
Our class is offering support as Andover students working within the Nest seek to provide a 3D printed prosthetic foot to a seriously disabled young man in remote Mongolia. It is interesting how many foreign students come to the United States nowadays. At the 2016 Andover Summer Session, more than a quarter of the foreign students are from mainland China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. During school year 2015 to 16, Andover had foreign students from 44 countries, constituting 10% of its student body. Headmaster Palfrey spoke eloquently of what Andover is all about.
I believe in academic excellence very deeply. I believe in sporting excellence. I believe in excellence in the arts, and we aspire to that, and we encourage kids to it. And I think Andover continues to stand for the best, and kids opt in to a school where they do a huge amount of homework every night, and that's good, and our standards are high. But we also say you can do that and have wellness as part of your life. We don't equate academic excellence with the amount of homework you've done. I actually think it's about the depth of analysis you do. It's about the depth of the engagement you have with the material. It's your ability afterwards to solve a problem. For young people who are coming at age 13 or 14 and leaving when they're 17 or 18, the kind of development that's going on, the engagement that we all have in their lives, the type of learning that they're doing, which of course has to do with Latin and Greek, and of course it has to do with US history, and of course it has to do with mathematics and with English and so forth. But the kind of learning that they're doing and growing is really an amazing thing to observe. So we've got kids from very, very poorest backgrounds to the very, very wealthiest backgrounds, and everybody in between. And what's wonderful, I think, is the reach into the middle class and the lower middle class and the wealthiest kids in the world. And it's no longer there, some kids of color who are less well off and a bunch of white kids who are most well off. In fact, some of the wealthiest kids in the school are not white kids. And you've got a really interesting mix, I think. And for these kids, I think they are learning about life through this form of diversity. I think it's very positive. It comes with its challenges. You're living with somebody who came from a very different background. One of the collaborations we have through a new research institute called the Tang Institute is a collaboration with an online platform called Khan Academy.
Yes.
So our math teachers, when you were students here, were making problems and actually writing the textbooks that you probably learned from famously. Now when they write those problems, instead of putting them in a textbook, we now put them on the internet with Khan Academy. And there are now 1 million people a month are using our teaching materials from mathematics through the Khan Academy. And those are people all over the world.
Tell me where you see me in 10 years. Am I living for my heart and my mind? Ask me what I'm laughing at. I'll say I'm the happiest I've been in a long time. Can you see me in the world that I'm dreaming? It's a world with no boundaries I can define. My love, get your shoes and we'll go now. We can choose to be happy for a long time. I don't wanna wait. Everybody's looking out for me to make a mistake. Got a 20 in my pocket, we can go right now. We can go. I don't wanna sit around and watch it go by. Don't want to live my life and not know why. Grab your keys and your coat, let's drive all night till the sun comes up, till the morning light. I don't wanna wait. Everybody's looking out for me to make a mistake. Got a 20 in my pocket, we can go right now. We can go. I don't wanna sit around and watch it go by. Don't want to live my life and not know why. Grab your keys and your coat, let's drive all night till the sun comes up, till the morning light.
If young women were in class, I would have worked harder because I wouldn't want to see them get too far ahead.
I would have fallen in love earlier. I think I would have been bad. I would have married the wrong woman. The whole thing would have
I think I would have fallen in love multiple times.
Well, I didn't want it to be co-ed for any.
Not with the same woman.
I was thinking more of academically.
No, I mean, the reality is, my reaction, I'm sure, I think would be the reaction of most people. The place is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is unbelievable. The plant, the beauty of the plant, the power of the plant, I'm talking about the physical, is awesome. And the beauty, obviously, people have cared about making the place look terrific.
Yes.
And then you see 2 young students and they're just great and they're driven and they're brilliant and they're, and I don't know, I think the place is better than ever. I thought it was great when we were here and it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
I think the merging of high tech into academic excellence is really something that we certainly didn't have the advantage of seeing because it wasn't the time, but it's amazing too.
That's right. Who can spin the most?
Yeah, who can get the most spins in a minute?
I don't know. I feel like the leisurely.
I can't wait to meet more members from the class of 1951 in June.
That's a great closing statement.
Expert in what fun dads like and what they don't like.
He's also the author of Rogue's Road to Retirement. We've had him on the show before, which was published just a couple of years ago when he was the young age of 82 years old. Now, 84. Happy birthday, by the way. Nice round of applause for Mr. Ryder.
It's nice to keep having them.
We heard that you had quite the birthday celebration. We have a photo of you here. Let's take a look at this.
Oh, my God. Wait a sec.
Oh, look at you. Party animal.
Jenny.
His daughter's over there. Now, what happened this evening when you had the little hat on? What was the backstory?
Well, the Black Seal, my favorite place of all, and we'll get to that quickly, they threw a party for me.
Nice.
So they had all kinds of stuff and a drink or two, and it was a good time. It was had by all.
Very good, very good. And today you have some tips for us, things that we should and shouldn't get for Dad.
First and foremost, make sure your dad has a shirt like this.
A nice warm
you
sweater?
You can dribble on it.
Easy cleanup, right?
And your wife won't get to see it for a couple of days.
It blends in.
Yeah.
It blends in. A camouflage sweater. That's first on the list.
And the next thing out of my bag of tricks here, my favorite pub, and everybody has a place to go. And I suggest to all you sons and so forth and so on out there, a gift certificate at the Black Seal would be very appropriate in Essex, Connecticut, and
nice little plug for that.
Your favorite place.
Is this a pay-to-play thing or what? All right. So number 2, what's next?
That was okay. And if your dad happens to be housebound or his joints are too creaky, I have a suggestion. If you have a beer appetite and a champagne income like I do, not bad. You can take him a case of this.
Look at that. Little Boston lager action.
But if you're a little bit more extravagant, a little doers will do you.
It's 9:07 in the morning.
There
Cheers
you
to
go.
that.
Dad likes cocktails. You've had a lot of Father's Day. Do any of them stand out for you? They're all great.
They're all unbelievable. They're all unbelievable. Now, if your dad has a twinkle in his eye still and maybe a glint or two, you might want to get him something a little spicy.
Okay.
Okay.
Spice things up on Father's Day.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Let's see.
In my case, I chose
check those out.
loose, buck-naked underwear. And just to prove it,
George! This is live television. George, keep your pants on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyhow,
just when you thought you'd seen everything. I'm gonna keep
Patriotic
these.
boxer
Thank
shorts.
you. For
There
Flag
you go.
Day. For Flag Day. Happy Flag Day.
Here's the book. Here's a couple of copies
We
of the
should always
book.
give him your book. That's a
Yeah,
great thing.
okay.
George, I want to ask you, why did you write the book at 82?
Pardon?
Why did you write the book at age 82? It's something you always wanted to do?
I got it published at 82. It was a work in progress, and I collected so many stories. Somebody said either we throw them all out or try and do something with them.
I'm glad you did
so
that.
we got lucky, got a publisher, and off we go. And the sequel is coming along.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah, On the Road again.
Nice.
And anybody out there with a story, send it, and I'll see if I can put it in the book.
Great.
Along the way, for Father's Day, I will be at the Griswold store in Essex, Connecticut, signing books from 1 to 3.
Autograph copy for Father's Day.
RJ
Very
and Julia
nice.
has been terrific to me. They threw us a wonderful book signing party. And hi, Liz.
Hey, Liz.
Here we go, Liz.
Make sure you guys check the book out, Amazon.com, The Rogue's Road to Retirement, and make sure you get a pair of George's underwear.
Now, back to the seal quickly.
Okay.
When you go
Real
in there, ask for Heather or Gretchen.
Heather or
it's
Gretchen, we'll
wonderful.
do that. George, thanks for being here. Happy Father's Day. Nice
Thank
to
you,
see
George.
you.
He's looking for a little kiss on the cheek there, I think.
Oh,
yeah, there you go.
didn't know.
Okay.